Hey everyone, it's been a while. I had some time off as I was finishing off high school, and obviously I didn't know how to top my last video, but I think I have something good here. Let's talk about 2D Mario games and health. Mario 1, you start with this small guy, walk into the angry small guy, you lose, negative feedback. Run into this nice red mushroom, you grow bigger and you don't lose when you take another hit, positive feedback, okay. It's intuitive, it makes sense within the context of a super power-up, you grow and get stronger and more resilient, cool stuff. But there's a ton more to keep in mind now. See these bricks that are everywhere? You break those if you jump into them as Super Mario, for better and worse. See that tiny crevice? It's far easier to get into it as Small Mario, but that form is more fragile. Do you really want to lose your shield to be able to easily pass down? But actually that's also backwards. Being big means you fill up this entire space. What if an enemy comes? There's pretty much no way to defend yourself here. The change of options and ways to interact with the environment between Small and Super Mario remain the main feature in every 2D Mario game, and that includes the Super Mario Maker games. The most notable example I have is the spinning standard blocks from Mario World. You can only break these by spin jumping on them as Super Mario. So say you have a level based on spinning and breaking blocks. You begin to spin jump and can't really exit this state until you land on unbreakable ground, simply because that's how the mechanic works. But what if you get hit now? You're done, level over, you need to reset somehow, either by dying or quitting and entering the stage again. Let's put it in a way that should clarify my issue with this a little better. If you want to use this mechanic, jumping to break brick blocks, you are better off not letting yourself use any of these elements, without very careful consideration for each one. All these enemies I feel like just aren't always that fair and properly telegraphed, and in general rarely support the motifs of breaking blocks above you or under you. Of course, just placing some bricks around your stage doesn't have to cut these out, but if you really want to center a level around a mechanic, you essentially lose a massive portion of your options if you want to keep the challenge fair, at least in my opinion. So even if you think resetting a level because of a softlock is not that bad, it still kind of feels off. One mistake leads to no longer being able to beat the level, but it's still not perfectly telegraphed that you need to restart just yet. So now I have two options. To the left is a version of the level where any player who makes a mistake knows they need to restart immediately since there's clearly nothing to interact with. This option is making the level hard and punishing, but aiming to create an enjoyable challenge within this ruling that one mistake ends the level, even though it doesn't kill Mario just yet. And the other option to the right of the screen is where the player just needs to wait a little bit in place after getting hit for the mushroom to keep going down. You always have a spare mushroom to restore that extra hit if something happens, or of course I could also just not have any damaging elements in the stage. Those are solutions, but it feels like they need to be more of a range of solutions than what they are right now. I feel like there's not enough gray space. Sure, you can get flexible with the execution of each one, but I struggle to imagine a solution to my breaking blocks issue between baby mode and precise mode, if those definitions make any sense. Now let's look at a level I made that doesn't have this issue for comparison. This level is centered around sliding down to kill piranha plants, but it also doesn't force you to do that. You can jump over and under everything in the stage as Small Mario and beat it really quickly, in 10 seconds actually someone did it. You can also be investigative and find the hidden POW blocks to take care of the plants, or take this hidden route that hints to you that I actually placed hidden blocks under most accessible plants that will also take care of them. Or wait at the entrance of the extra challenge for a second, surveying the landscape, and be greeted to a fire flower. That's one of my better levels, I feel like, since it's very flexible, relishes in the explorative options I loved Super Mario World so much for, and doesn't require perfect execution while also keeps you a good bit on your toes. It's really short, but I think it's a fun experience if you take the time to enjoy it. But still, if you look at it, this level isn't very aspiring either. It's playing on a pretty simple concept, and I don't really make the player think in order to beat it, just don't mess up the timing and you can do it. So let's add something to it and see if I feel better than this simple entity combination of slopes and plants. How about bob-ombs? I want the plants to fire towards me as I stand near a bomb, so it's set on fire and drops a reward of some kind. That's way more interesting already. So what do I need for this to work? Well, I need the bombs to stay in place, and to not trivialize the plants, I need to make sure the player can't set the bombs off themselves, so, you know, the plants actually have a purpose. And I also should make sure the bombs are in place, and I kinda have to think of a way to suspend them in the air while somehow barring the reward to make that inaccessible for the player. See what I mean? Any attempt of expanding simple concepts further is facing the engine's simple and sensible, that is, limits. It's not the limits' fault, it's that it always looks so simple yet is rarely even possible. So why am I complaining? Most of what I did was just rant that I myself have some pretty weird and not functional ideas. But I think it's fair to see that as a problem caused somewhat by the game because of the core presentation. It's a Super Mario Maker. It's a customizable experience, but it's lacking enough room for innovation to make it a space to create Mario levels that you really feel like you made. Like I said, it's way too freaking that I just end up making a level that's way too easy or way too hard that's also featuring the Mario series visuals. Because I don't want to make something that's already been done. Imagine if the actual 2D Mario games just kept making new levels with old elements. Ah, fuck. Well, I don't want to be a part of that. Enemies are too messy to put in challenging ways in levels because they'll either be super easy to take out or be placed in a particularly tricky spot. There's rarely ways to incorporate just a green Koopa in a really engaging way, and there's rarely ways to make sure a cape level has risks if you want the cape for the whole thing. Super Mario World knew this. Let's look at its cape level. This one is fun and tricky at the top, but a risky area below where the only thing you want to do below is just hunt back for another cape. But that's just not really possible with the Maker engine limitations. Seriously, why are levels limited to 2 screens tall or 2 screens wide? Just give me a box option. Anyway, I feel like it's fair to put a comparison or a suggestion on what to improve here, but I just feel like this complaint of mine is a very core aspect of the game. I still enjoy the hell out of it, making levels is amazingly fun, and it's a really magical experience being able to bring some of my ideas to life after wondering, oh, what do these two things do and they're together for years? And I can't really compare anything to this because even ignoring Maker, the Mario series aspect of the player size in exchange for like breaking blocks dilemma isn't anything I know exists in other platformers. It's a really unique thing that I'm impressed survived nearly 30 years in the same series without many changes at all. So yeah, this was another Boogs talks about vaguely somewhat interesting ideas and doesn't do anything with them. Special. Yeah, it's no jock shocker like last video, but I think I'm okay with it. I just want to make more videos again. Hopefully you can make more of this idea jumble than I did out of the whole situation. Go play Mario Maker, kids. Game's good. I'm just clown. Yeah. Thanks for watching.